So here we go. Peace, family. We're back with another DOA TBM podcast episode. And this week we tuned in with another exclusive special guest. First and foremost, I want to say peace to Ankh'KaRa and the family at Anchor for definitely getting this podcast out there blazing on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the other major platforms. As usual, you can catch us on Bada Online, and we're definitely representing each and every week, bringing you powerful information. So without much further ado, we've got another exclusive special guest this week. And this is our second female guest that we've had. You know, we've been going for like a year so far. And the title being a Diary of a Thai Black Man podcast, it's not as cut and dry as that. And I've personally wanted to incorporate more female guests as things continue, but the right females that can definitely have different information, because you know the show's quite diverse as it is, so we want to have different females that have got different information that it can be bringing forward. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce the Tantric medicine woman, or you know, as she's known, Ankh'KaRa Ashe, aka Soulgasmic Ascension, aka Ethereal Stardust, and all that other groovy stuff. How are you doing, goddess?
Blessings, greetings. I'm wonderful. I'm literally, wonderful and very grateful for this opportunity to be on this beautiful, powerful platform with yourself.
Much appreciated, and we're definitely grateful to have you here, and you've definitely already lit things up visually. And I know in terms of what I've heard from you and what I've saw from your own platforms and stuff, which we'll get onto, you've got a lot of powerful information and knowledge and stuff out there that you disseminate and spreading to people. So one of the things why I really wanted to connect before we really get into it is because sometimes I think, especially within our community, we know there can be a lot of division and stuff and breakdown within families and between the male and the female. And sometimes we've got teachers and we've got people out here that are doing stuff, but it can sometimes only reach their own, genre, not genre, but their own sex, if that makes sense. So sometimes we do stuff as the guys, it only reaches the brothers. Sometimes the females got stuff, it only reaches the females, but there needs to be more of us kind of coming together and putting the information and stuff together as well, which is why I'm glad that you took the time to be on here. So to sort of start things off, can you give maybe a bit of an introduction about, you know, who you are, your work and stuff, how you sort of got started, what sort of taking you on this cosmic journey?
Yes, sure, I can do that. So it started like about, give or take, 10 years ago. And 10 years ago, this is more like my awakening, my little insight that there was much more to life than I understood. And that was an actual supernatural event that happened in my life around 10 years ago. And at the time, I didn't necessarily have the understanding to break it down, to actually understand exactly what it meant. All I knew is that, wow, there's stuff going on in this world that can't be explained with just the rational logic mind. So I went through a spell of depression. So I was depressed for like months and months. And I remember when I was at my wit's end and at one of my lowest points. Now, as a child, I grew up in a Christian background, so I've kind of always connected with a supreme source,
of course,
and always connected with higher beings such as angelic energies. So when I was at like one of my lowest points, I literally was in my bedroom, on my bed, curtains closed, almost hiding from the world, in a very kind of dark space. And this is the funny thing, because I was in a dark space, but it was actually light that changed my life and put me on the path that I'm on now. So I was literally playing like finger puppets on the wall. Entertainment, no TV. So playing with these like finger puppets, you know, when you do the rabbit and you see the rabbit shadow on the wall. So I'm doing this now. And all of a sudden, that shadow starts to glow. And I'm there like, what? Like I'm kind of baffled. And I'm like, it can't just be the shadow of my hand. So I stopped doing the rabbit and started to do the hand. The whole shadow on the wall is glowing, and not just glowing, but the shadow has become its own source of light. So you know when we light a candle and we've got a flame, and the flame itself is not just a colour, it's actually a source of light. That's exactly how my shadow was,
Luminosity.
giving off light.
Okay.
Like my shadow was lighting up the room.
Oh wow! And how
Then I
that
stand up, and
was
it's
that not
my
scary?
whole. Pardon?
Was you scared, or what was that experience?
I feel like because it was light, you can't be like light. For me, light's nothing to be scared of because it's just pure light. That's all
Yeah,
it is. It's light, and it's gold. It's like literally like the same color as a flame. So it's that yellowy, orangey gold, and I'm just like rah. And I was just like taken back for a moment. And as you do, try and kind of scientifically explain it, logically explain it, do research. And I couldn't find anything to logically explain it. And that was a powerful time for me because it just allowed me to see through my own experience that there's things going on in this world that I haven't got a clue about, that I didn't even understand was possible. So that experience there just completely opened me up. And from the humble space, let me know that, you know what, I don't know anything.
yeah.
I don't know anything. So from that day, instead of having a full cup of kind of this information that I thought was truth and I thought was the world around me, it allowed me to kind of empty that whole cup, empty that whole mind, and allowed me to actually understand that, there is so much more to life, that I need to be a student now. I need to learn.
Okay, yeah.
And from that learning, that's how I kind of got on more of this spiritual path.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I think a few points that I found interesting from that is one, I think there seems to be a close, I haven't quite cracked it completely yet, but there seems to be a sort of a close link between those that often become very, I'd say, highly in tuned or see things from a different level. And I don't want to say depression, but sometimes even within the context of mental health and stuff like that, and being taken to certain points mentally with your mind being really stretched to its parameters, and then being able to reconcile that and come back and see things differently. You also mentioned just being in a dark place, because as we know, even just in the creation of the universe and stuff, out of darkness, we do get the light and stuff as well. So it can be going back to that sort of axiomatic point, which can be very scary for some as well, which I was asking, because you have to be in not everybody make it out that place to get through to the other side to even see the light and stuff. Some people, they still walking around in darkness and stuff as well. So that's something that I found kind of interesting from what you were saying. Another thing was, I know like a lot of us have been raised going to Judeo-Christian or Catholic like schools, Christian schools and stuff like that, and even in households. Some of us have grown up in the religious sort of households and stuff, but same sort of thing. I think not everybody who grows up around a religion is guaranteed to sort of ascend. If we're talking about just even mental ascension and frequencies and stuff like that, I think there's got to be something intrinsic that sort of makes you want to know a higher power at the same time, if that makes sense. I think that's got to be something that's in you definitely from young. So I find that quite interesting, because when I speak to people that are that I deem on a certain frequency, I see certain similarities just within how they've been brought up, or their mind state, or their mindset and ways of thinking. So even to take that back into even like relationships and stuff, one of the things I did want to discuss with you is I did a podcast a few months ago with a friend of mine, and we was talking about just intimacy, romance, relationships, dynamics between the man and the woman nowadays and stuff. In your own sort of experience and findings, especially working within the region of like tantra and stuff like that, and we're talking about ascension and things like this as well, and raising up energies. Do you think sometimes even sex and connecting on that sort of level can be disharmonious, because some say it can deplete your energy as well? Some say if you with the right partner, you can do magic and stuff. So I just want to get your thoughts on that real quick.
Sexuality is such a potent medicine for humanity. It literally is a source of creation, a source of why we're actually here roaming this earth and allowed to explore. The thing is, when our vessels hold so much blockages, so much trauma, and so much unprocessed emotions, that universal life force can't flow as effectively as it should. So then that's where our distortions come in, our traumas come in, our dharmas come in into relationships, the way we relate to each other, and also within our bodies and our sexuality. So the woman in her nature is receptive, the receptive energy, that's female energy. And then with the masculine is all about what? The action, the consciousness. So as a woman with a perfect fertile soil to grow the seeds of consciousness, so this happens through our thought process, through our thoughts. And if those thoughts are out of alignment, when we're having our sexual exchanges, we are building almost weeds in this beautiful garden of a woman, and these weeds are coming up and tangling and twisting round the actual bond in this relationship, and we wonder why we're feeling suffocated, we're wondering why there's limitations and restrictions. As above, so below, everything is almost like a reflection of nature. So the same way you have the sun, and the sun is, again, masculine principle. The sun sustains, the sun directs energy towards other planets, towards our planet, the trees, the nature, and the moon. The moon is the feminine. The moon reflects the sun's radiance, the sun's consciousness. So it literally is about a dance and a play between consciousness and the amplification of that. So the woman is literally amplifying the energy that is being given off the masculine forces. So I know we kind of just went into ether, into the planetary.
I like it.
It is literally all connected, because we mirror. My ethereal stardust on Instagram. We are etheric stardust. Like the matter is stardust.
And this is sort of where I came across your stuff. It was definitely on some Instagram stuff, and I heard you speaking, and I was like, wow, this is powerful, because I've looked into a lot of stuff myself. I'm not a stranger to knowledge and stuff, information. So what I really like to do, and especially one of the things why I even launched this platform, was so I could sort of disseminate and break some of these things down to others, and make things a bit plain as well, at a sort of common level. Because as you said, sometimes we're going to the cosmic stuff, and it just blows people's minds, because it's way above what they're currently comprehending, or where they're firing from. When we're looking at the masculine and feminine sort of, because some say there's a major rift even nowadays, just even within on the planet and stuff as well. Just looking to see in the indication on just how things are in the time, how much conflict and chaos and stuff like that we're seeing. Not to go off topic, but we hear a lot of talk now, especially we've seen like the BLM sort of stuff. We've seen the transgender sort of stuff. We've seen the LGBT sort of stuff. People are saying there's a strong link to, you know, feminism and stuff at the minute being behind a lot of things. Do you feel, what I mean, is it probably like not like a silly question, but I want to hear your answer anyway. But do you feel that
Okay.
imbalances, like if one is too much on the masculine level or too much pushing the feminine sort of energy, then do you think that that can cause greater problems and stuff too? Because it's like now we're seeing a lot of women saying, okay, there's toxic masculinity and there's a control and the demarcation of what being masculine or feminine should be. You know, so I want to get your thoughts on that as well.
Definitely. So when you mentioned kind of more of the feminist aspect of things, one thing, like, I am not like political like at all, but I still understand where you're coming from. And with the feminist or feminine energy, is feminist even feminine? Is it the same? Is it the same thing? Because for me, I'm not really seeing much of the feminine energy
Yeah.
in the feminist movements that I've witnessed.
No, yeah, I'd concur with that. That's
It's almost like, again, it's about knowledge of self. Can't really look at another and think, okay, I need to be doing A, B, and C, and trying to almost replicate a masculine energy as a woman, and then think that that is equality, because it's almost like we're all made different, we're all made with our own energies, and the more we tune into that, the actual feminine energy, which again is the receptive, is the nurturer, is, it can be a sustainer, but it's all within balance of the being. So the main thing comes down to imbalance. If we're looking at imbalanced males and then thinking that we're going to get equality by mirroring imbalanced males, then there's just a world of more imbalance.
Yeah, no, I agree
And
with
then
that.
no peace will
Especially,
come from that.
nothing's gonna come, and I think it's something that especially us and our people, we've got to look at as well, a lot of our own sort of imbalances as well, because I think too often many of us want to look and externalize things too much and blame people on the outside and stuff as well, where we do have a lot of things that we've got to work through ourselves as individuals and even just as a community and stuff, which brings us to sort of the work and stuff you're doing, because it's solution based and stuff as well. In terms of like the healing sort of classes and the therapy and stuff like that, can you kind of bring us to an example of not like an instance where somebody might need that sort of healing? Because as we know, in the real world, people have experiences. Some, you know, may have lived a certain life in their younger self and stuff, and they may feel, okay, I need to sort of cleanse, or I need to, you know, kind of make a shift. Or I mean, what would you recommend, or what would you say in that instance?
I'd say that for first thing, it's beautiful and really powerful when someone can recognize that they may be out of alignment or out of balance, and then have the courage to seek assistance. That's number one. That is very powerful, because in order to heal, we must feel the imbalance and the discontent and not be cool with that.
Yeah.
So that's number one. That is the first step. So the things and the services and the experiences that I offer literally all stem around unification of our divine energy that is within us. So I deal with transcendence of trauma. So the trauma literally is such a physical thing. It's so physical, and we think, oh, how can an experience that we've had many years ago, be physical. At the moment, a situation happens to us that, one, is usually out of our control. Two, we feel a state of helpless from. And three, we kind of suppress the emotion towards that because it's not acceptable to feel the emotion. That's when trauma happens. So because it's not been okay to, let's say, express this trauma, and we've not been able to process it because maybe we're young and we don't understand, the body has literally registered it and made a stamp in our being, in our cellular tissue. So we actually have pockets of trauma physically in our body. So I work on a physical level also with the body work. So literally having someone lie down as if they're having a Thai massage session, encouraging them to breathe and allow the breath to come through their body, and use the breath as a tool to release the stagnant energy that is within their bodies. So we've all experienced feeling tight.
Of course, yeah.
Tight, feeling sore in our body in certain places, like the shoulders, for instance, carry certain emotions, like we've heard, like, how come you carry your burdens on your shoulders? Your shoulders literally do carry burdens. Yeah. It is a real thing. Everything we do say is linked back to some kind of science.
Of course.
So the tension is literally a physical manifestation of emotions and trauma that we are carrying in our physicality.
Oh, wow.
Now, because we're carrying it on the physical, this is literally blocking our meridians and channels that carry that sustainable life force energy that make us feel like, whoa, I'm myself, I'm strong, I'm determined, I've got vitality, energy. The channels are blocked because of all this stagnant energy and tension. And the tension has come from, on an unconscious level, us creating an armor. So back to the trauma. When we experience trauma, it could be as a child, as an adult. It's like your body almost wants to kind of protect itself and not go through that kind of pain again. So wherever that trauma has lodged itself in your body, the tissues and the fabrics of the cells start to form a literal body armor around this energetic vibration call come through. So we are literally carrying that on a physical level.
I got you.
So as a body worker, I'm literally working with the body, breathing and stroking and breathing with the people to allow the release of all this tough armor that we've put on ourselves. Because one thing the armor does, we kind of feel all right because we've got this armor on and we can't feel the pain, we can't feel the emotion. So we're walking around life thinking, yeah, well, I'm blessed, I'm good. But the thing is, yes, we can't feel the emotion and we can't feel the pain, but we also can't feel our essence.
Amen.
Feel who we truly, really are. So that barrier and wall that we put up to protect ourselves is actually almost a prison and is imprisoning us in a matrix away from our own divinity.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, wow. I mean, you really broke that down, because one of the things, even, powerful, once again, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know you got the cosmic mind, so I don't know where you studied or trained or whatever, but kudos. I mean, the greatest theologians, even throughout history and time, always attribute, I guess, dare I say, the journey, or the what actually life is about is coming into that understanding of your essence and really gaining that higher level and insight. So with that being said, even just taking what you just said, looking at trauma, looking at how these things pervade and impact us, it's like a lot of us have self-induced ourselves into our own prisons within this matrix, like you're saying. And it was interesting because as you were speaking, I just got a lot of neurons and stuff firing off as well. And I'm thinking, especially even in terms of some of our people, where even we look at off the back of slavery and stuff like that, and how people have, even raised their own kids in the household. How many of us, we see the jokes and the memes and stuff about it with parents and, cussing their kids or acting a certain way, beating their kids and certain things like that, where even traumatic experiences often hold a longer influence when it's inflicted on by somebody that you actually know, who is looks like you're a part of you, or has a connection to you and stuff as well. So a lot of the trauma that we've even have induced upon us, sometimes it's sad because it comes from our own people and stuff as well. So it was just made me think when you was talking about just the whole prison, being in prison and stuff. So because I don't want to get too political, because some say that can be manipulated and people can and have set that in place for those particular reasons, so that people can be in prison down here and just have that sort of mentality. In terms of, the energy work, it's interesting because, I'm familiar a bit with like Reiki and stuff like that. And I remember when I first came across it like many years ago, and I wasn't in complete awareness of, I guess, its scientific roots and stuff, but just drawing a lot of even the information and stuff to where it is now, and putting having the understandings and how important a lot of this stuff is. You do like Reiki healing and stuff like that. How important is energy? Because we hear a lot about it and people say, everything is energy, everything has an energetic field and stuff. Energy can never be destroyed. It just changes from one state to another. We carry energy around us. Recently we've had a whole lot of uproar in regards to 5G and the internet and stuff, and people saying, can we be affected by these energetic fields? Can we, even social distancing, one of the key, the cool things about that is people are understanding, well, even in being in the proximity of other people within a certain sphere and scope, they can come into your energetic field and stuff as well. So, just to sort of touch on that, how important is energy to us, and us just having an understanding of it?
Energy is literally part of the fabric of our existence. Literally, energy can just be such a tangible thing. Like, we all kind of feel vibes. We can feel like if someone's had an argument and we've walked in the room, it's like no one has to say anything. You literally feel the tension. You can feel it, and you can be just like, okay, I'm gonna kind of step out. And it's just beautiful to always kind of have these real life situations that we can think of, and we can say, oh yeah, I felt that. Even if someone says something and we get shivers, that sensation when you get like a shiver run down your spine, and you're thinking, yo, what's going on? Our nervous system is just so sensitive. So sensitive to frequencies and fields, and even getting goosebumps. Like, someone might say something, or you might go to a certain house and then you look in your arm and your hairs on your arm are standing up and you've got goosebumps. So it just shows that your body is actually more in tune with this energy than the conscious mind is sometimes.
Okay.
So energy is everything.
Well, you're right.
It's everything. It's so important.
Yeah, no, sorry to cut you. When you just said that about the body, it's like, just as a quick note, when some people say they get a feeling in their stomach sometimes as well, when, because it's your body probably picking up on something consciously that, as you said, your conscious mind may not have the awareness, but you can get that unconscious feeling in the pit of your stomach as well.
1,000%. It's like your flight or flight system, your nervous system, your gut. Your gut is such a powerful brain.
Well,
It's such
it's interesting
such a
because it is a brain.
powerful
Yeah.
consciousness.
Look,
Literally, even if you look at the way the intestines look, quite similar to
to
what's
a
up
brain.
here,
Yeah.
again, as above, so below.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what does your gut do? Like the same way your mind, your brain, sorry, the physical brain breaks things down so you can assimilate the information.
Digest.
Your gut breaks things down so you can assimilate information from the food. Yeah, we're getting information.
And would you say that now I've seen some studies where they can sort of correlate that with the higher and lower mind, or even even then you can take it higher and lower sort of chakras and stuff as well. But
Mm-hmm.
because I mean the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that, he released a book, How to Eat to Live, and as we see, there's a lot more people looking into even healthy eating and stuff like that now, and understanding the link between what we eat. Dr. Laila Africa recently passed away. Rest
Mm-hmm.
in peace. There's been many that have, showed us correlations between even our mental health and our mind state, which has come from erroneous eating habits and stuff as well. Because, it's funny you say like the stomach just being a second brain, because it's like they say, the way to a man's heart through his stomach and stuff. There's so much different colloquialisms and stuff in reference to just being able to rule somebody by their digestive system or by their stomach or by what they eat.
Yeah.
So I think that's I've always found that kind of interesting. Do you practice a particular diet or anything, or do you think we should abstain from eating certain things as well, or is there certain things that you would even recommend to say that could boost the energy and stuff as well?
I am like predominantly plant-based, like eat as much plants as you can, like literally eat as much plants as you can. It's all about plant power. And always just trust your spirit, like connect with your spirit. One thing that I would always recommend is detoxing. Detoxing, colon cleansing. Cleanse that gut.
Get you
Because
some
again,
some
we're
wormwood and
walking
some
around with so much
yeah.
baggage. Like the bag lady, like Ankh'KaRa sings, so much baggage that we're missing our vibrational portals and opportunities because of this baggage that's literally slowing us down vibrationally,
Yeah.
because it's all in our colon. We've got so much piled up in our colon because sometimes it's not common practice to cleanse
Cleanse
the colon, whereas really it kind of should be.
yeah, no, it's crazy because
So that's one thing. If I recommend anything, it would be that.
to cleanse,
Colon cleanse,
and
detox.
that can be done easily by via some wormwood or some even some prune juice from the corner store or something. If there's a few options, or even but that I was talking to some family members, some elders, not too long ago. We was they from Jamaica and stuff, and it's interesting because they were talking about just intestinal worms and parasites and stuff, and just how common they are, without that some people don't even know. I know that they're common and stuff anyway, but they were saying when they were growing up out there, they used to actually see them, like they would be coming out of people's mouths and bottom ends and stuff as well. And so certain things that we used to be mindful of, I guess, in the community or the wider community, to even be trying to redress and be on top of, a lot of that's fallen to sort of the wayside in that now, which is why, like I said to you earlier, just even coming across yourself, I was so, and still am, completely wild, like, oh wow, especially somebody coming within our local sort of region here as well, so I definitely tip my cap to you for the work and stuff that you do. Let me, I've got a couple more questions and stuff here now as well. Because I want to sort of contrast this with one of the interviews that I did with one of the male guests, just to sort of see if there's any differentiation in some of the questions. In terms of finding, like, modern day relationships and stuff, what are your thoughts in terms of, I guess, not like the pros and cons or difficulties, but because we were sort of saying it's very difficult for a guy now probably to meet the right sort of woman, and you want to embark upon a a real healthy relationship. You want to meet somebody that you
Yeah.
can complement and balance each other in the right way and sort of push things forward. But now my male guest, I haven't got the footage here to play or anything, but he was arguing that women nowadays, the deck is very much stacked in their favor. They've got so much choices and stuff like that, and they're not really wanting to harmonize with men probably as much as they did before. So what are your thoughts in regards to that?
For me, it's literally all about consciousness. The more a man rises, his consciousness, everything external is literally reflecting that. So we can like talk 3D about obviously like the physical things, but even in the 3D, there's nothing stopping you from excelling consciously. Because like I said, like even though I'm a woman, I am where I am at now because of my darkness, because of my suffering, because of my trauma. That's why I'm here. I'm not here because I had a golden path all laid out for me.
Of course.
So within the struggle, the darkness, there's got to be something, do you know what I mean, that can crack. Think of a butterfly or a caterpillar, for example. When a caterpillar is in a cocoon, while this caterpillar is in this cocoon, yeah, it might be dark, yeah, it might be tight and uncomfortable, and there's a restriction around it. And that cocoon is literally allowing that metamorphosis. So even though you could say, okay, it seems like there's more odds against men, you can let them odds be that cocoon. Let them odds that you perceive to be against you, allow that metamorphosis to happen. Because literally there's so much power in spirit, and sometimes it might take so much like destruction for that spirit to rise. So it's not always a negative thing. It doesn't have to affect you in a negative way. And also back to the butterfly in the cold cocoon thing, when that butterfly is starting to transform into that kind of being, a butterfly, when it's in its cocoon and it's pushing against the tightness of that physical cocoon, it's actually strengthening its wings. So that resistance is strengthening it. And if someone come along and was just like, oh, poor butterfly, let me try and break this cocoon for you so you can fly out, that probably that butterfly might never fly, because that cocoon, it actually needed the resistance of that cocoon to strengthen its wings enough so it would be able to fly.
Yeah. Wow.
So in some sense, the restrictions can actually be, or whatever you think that's against you, can actually be a tool and a blessing. Like for me, this is tantra. This is what tantra is about. Tantra is about using every single thing around us as an opportunity for the expansion of consciousness. So I haven't got an excuse not to be consciously expanding. It's not like, oh, I haven't got time to meditate, so kind of enough. I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, so whenever I'm cleaning, I should be going to meditation. I should be able to expand my consciousness while drinking some PG tips. Like literally, there's no limitation. And this is why, like for me, this tantric path is, it's just been a literal unfolding and a blossoming, because I have no excuse. There's literally no excuse. There is literally no limitation just because of that. So if I'm in a dark place, right, how am I going to expand from this? Like what? There's expansion and opportunities of expansion in every single crack and in every single crevice, because why? We are light.
Real talk. I mean, beautifully said once again. I could listen to you speak for hours. In the context of what you, gosh, this every time you speak, there's so many it's just so many light bulbs I got just going off at the same time. And so I definitely want to thank you for definitely raising the vibration, even on this conversation and stuff as well. You smartened me up a bit when you just spoke about Tantra, because I've always heard about Tantra, and I've, known the association with it to do with sexuality on the sex side, but you sort of just transcended that greater for me to emphasize that it's about the elevation and expansion of consciousness on a wider sort of scale. A couple of interesting points. One of them, when you was talking about the butterfly and the cocoon effect, very interesting and stuff as well. Because one thing that I found quite pertinent was the importance of, then if you let sometimes somebody could come into your life and they may want to help, but as you said, that cocoon that might be needed for you, and they may break it open at the wrong time or whatever, and sort of mess up your metamorphosis. There's some ancient texts like this, and they say, I want, maybe one day I'll get into some personal stuff, but it says, the doors are everything's either magically opened or tragically shut, which shows sometimes the importance of the people that we bring around us, because even as we're ascending and we're going through our stages and going to a certain points, that's when sometimes other people will come in and will, sort of want to try and get, not their hooks in, but that's just a little point I wanted to make, just to put a little game out there. You hit the nail on the head as well with the whole resistance force aspect, because it's just like going to the gym or even sculpting your muscles. It's the resistance that is what builds things up. And to be honest, you don't even have to go to the gym. There's some people that do powerful stuff like yoga and different forms of working out, where bilaterally you can be imagining that you're lifting that same weight and still doing the actual same work, and just creating that mental resistance, which is a state of alchemy and stuff in the mind. Another beautiful point you made about just cleaning and utilizing, being conscious in whatever state, because even the old alchemists, it was the same thing. Whatever it is they're doing, it's a mental process of what you sort of exploring while you're going through it. That's sort of the greatest work that you can do. Even myself, being in the music business and certain things for years, I always looked at even all the work that I've done the same sort of way. Like, it's the journey and the process mentally, what's accompanying it at the same time, not just the one sole task that you're doing and stuff as well, because you can sort of consciously not like tune into anything, but you know what I mean, if you're able to sort of push our minds that right way. So I think it's beautiful that even a lot of this information is with us now, or with us a lot more, especially in these times, because going back a few years where knowledge and information, especially pertaining to things like this, was either seen as spookism a lot of times, or especially some of our people coming out of the tail end of slavery and Christianity and stuff, I don't hear nothing about no stars, I don't hear nothing about no this, that, and some people still like that to this day, at the same time. But what it shows me is there's a natural, even cosmic sort of rhythm, ascension, plan, same thing, the whole universe thing, and within that you've got certain unique beings and stars that go and be at different levels and stuff like that. So that's the way I've always sort of looked at this thing, hence the picture in the background.
I love it.
So a bit more about the work and stuff that you're doing then, because it's definitely based around solutions. Talk us a bit more through the like the tantric sort of healing, how we can, because we've spoke about a bit about the energetic healing, like the Reiki side. We spoke a bit about like the breathing aspects and the stuff like that. In the tantric healing now, what sort of difference does that come with, or what benefits could it bring?
Just by connecting with self and expanding your consciousness, it literally, it's almost like it creates a parallel reality that you can literally vibrationally shift into, that looks like better relationships, that looks like deeper connections, that looks like abundance in like the material plane. It literally deals with every single aspect of your being, because in this tantric work we are literally aligning the chakras, and the chakras literally hold and govern domains of our physical life.
As
Of
a
our physical life. So we've got the roots, so we've got survival. So if that root chakra is out of whack, we're gonna keep experiencing different conflicts and limitations and barriers when it comes to our relationship with belonging, feelings of belonging, feelings of being grounded, rooted, being stable. All of that kind of energy is all going to be off.
Yeah.
Then we've got our sacral, so to do with your emotions and the way you connect with your creativity, because that womb space or that sacral space for men and women, because we've both got that womb like energy essence.
That's how a man can create as well, even
The
into the world. Yeah, we can create out,
got that.
from the same sort of yeah.
Where your belly button, where your the cord, the umbilical cord that you connected you to your mom, that's almost like a portal, that channel there, that channeled your fuel, that was your passion, that was almost like life force. So when it comes to our creative, that is literally our creative center. So when that's out of whack and we don't feel the same level as vitality and life force anymore, with emotions, the emotions aren't flowing, the waters, everything's stagnant. Got our solar plexus, which is our personal powerhouse, has so much drive and our will and our power to attain, and our power is knowing who I am, that center. When that's out of whack, we're just going along with other people's flows and not really be able to ground and cement in our own, and being able to use our will to bring in our existence and even manifest. Have our sun, have the radiance, have that sun that attracts and feeds that which it wants to sustain. Our solar sun, solar plexus, soul, heart. Now the heart center, that's one of my, I love that one. Literally being able to trust ourselves, to forgive ourselves. Because if we can't trust ourselves, can't forgive ourselves, we've got grudges for ourselves, that just replicates and projects on the way we relate to others. And how we don't let other people in, and we think that we're not emotional, but it's just because we've got a wall over our heart.
Yeah.
And as soon as something penetrates that wall, because it's had no contact, it's so raw and so vulnerable that it can shut a man down. So that's why it's very, 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 very important to do that heart healing.
Okay.
That channel, clear that vortex.
Yeah.
And align with that pathway of inner love and inner trust. Because trust is like trust. It is a deep thing.
It's interesting because I met this sister a few years ago, and along my complicated journey, and I'm still on my crazy journey, but and I remember she distinctively saying, and I know you're gonna do the other, so sorry, but I remember she looked at me and she was saying she can sort of see, auras and all that sort of stuff, and she was like, wow, you so I can see all this sort of stuff from you, but she was looking at my points, and then she went to about the heart point. She was like, ooh, like something around there though, that means I see you need to work sort of in that area. So I thought that was quite interesting. But yeah, sorry, that was just a point of interest that popped up.
No, it is interesting because we give like energy again. We give off different vibes, and also this is the interesting thing when it comes to certain types of women.
Peace Queen, wait, I mean, is the goddess, where she at?
It's because a part of you from that wounded heart space resonated with that wound inside of them, and your wound decided to be friends and get closer.
I think that's what happened, and it was a crazy situation because at the time I was with somebody else, but we met and we had this instantaneous sort of like connection on some twin flame type. It was like what, but she had been through some stuff, and it was like there was sort of an unwritten understanding that I guess we, you
Mm.
know, even in our head and stuff where we knew. But long story short, I kind of fumbled and when the stuck with, because I'm a loyal person, I stuck with the person I was kind of with before. And even though she was saying, oh, you know, she could see something in that other person, it sounds kind of a trip. This slightly off topic because she was saying that other person's a bit deadly. They can probably see all this, you know, vibes and all that too, but they'll probably use it to manipulate you. So that's another thing I did want to touch on because it's something I guess we have to be careful of, because even we're having this conversation and we're talking about people being aware and in tune and stuff like that. There's also people that are in tune, but and use it to a malevolent way.
Yeah, for real. That's like a little bit like psychology.
Definitely,
Like when you kind of overstand and understand psychology, you can see how it's kind of being used around us.
pretty
But
much.
a lot of the time, it's based upon, again, it's based upon wounds and trauma. So people are pulling us by the strings of our own trauma, like puppets.
Like puppets.
That's why healing is the most empowering thing, because when we heal, we literally cut those strings away from the puppet master.
Yeah, I
And you know
think.
what? To be completely real with you,
Hmm.
sometimes it is literally the unconscious mind that's the puppet master,
I, I,
and we try and give
I could
power to
believe, I could believe
like
that too sometimes
external
because
force.
it can be our own sort of yeah, you know, I do concede that, but this is why, not to get too personally, but I guess even in some of my own personal stuff, you know, is to, you want to have that
Mm-hmm.
understanding with somebody where, you know, y'all trying to reach that together, or you can you know, because yeah, things can be a figment of your own mind and stuff as well sometimes. So you know, it's definitely really important. But that's why I convey to anybody, definitely do your own sort of work on yourself first, I guess, before really embarking in relationships with others. But because I guess we're not really taught healing on those sort of levels, and what society sorts to tend to perpetuate is the same cycles
Mm.
and stories over and over again. So I
Yeah.
mean, you know, the kid who grows up in his home and feels you know, unwanted and unloved to a certain degree and aspect, and goes out and seeks love and different things in different ways, you know, maybe in the arms of a woman, and you know, but without truly understanding the magnitude of the connections between man and woman and how some of these things could or should be. And you know,
Yeah.
so sometimes these things, they long stem and perpetuate the same cycles over and over again, because that guy could then go out and then, you know, he could get this girl pregnant, and before you know it, he ain't, she might not be a complete problem, but he may have unresolved things that he hasn't dealt with, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
that leads to a breakdown of that situation. Then once again, you got another single, you know, parent family again, and then the same sort of cycle can sometimes perpetuate. Not to say all the dramas are caused by that. What are your thoughts on like polygamy and stuff? Slightly off topic.
Polygamy, again, I just root everything
off,
back to consciousness. Like
off
literally,
topic, but
if it's done with consciousness, then everything's just gonna blossom. But as we know, like sometimes we can be in a state of working progress.
yeah.
So within that consciousness, sometimes things still might erupt. We still might be triggered, but it's all lessons. Do you know what I mean? And the lesson learned is a blessing.
Yeah, no,
So we've got to literally give thanks to that and understand self, know self. So for some people, they could actually like, you know what, I can see myself like being in like a non-monogamous relationship and kind of exploring and expanding what I really know to be relationship dynamics. I wonder what kind of learning that has in store and what that looks like in terms of not just a relationship but with family and in a community. How does that kind of union affect or even begin and start and seed community? Because if community is seeded in family and we're having larger families, more people with more dynamics, it's almost like a school for how to raise and engage with community itself in a larger form of community. So I feel like, yeah, there's a lot of beauty that can unfold within those levels of relationships, and those levels of relationships on a personal level will always be a reflection or a rejection of what's going on inside the individuals. So you can never really blame monogamy, or you can never blame open relationships or polyamory or polygamy, because they're only reflecting the individuals. So it's not like, oh my God, this is good. It's like, well, if you're good, that's good. Do you know what I mean? Or, oh my God, that's bad. Because if you're bad, that's going to be bad. It's reflecting you. Like, do you know what I mean? You can't kind of generalize a whole concept based upon your experience of it. Your experience of it is your experience of it. It's not it. So I think that's very, very, very important as well.
Okay.
And accountability.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Especially accountability and stuff like that as well. And that's definitely something I think people need to just be more aware of as well. You know, and responsibility, which, you know, ties in, I guess, itself. Where can people find you and stuff online and stuff? I mean, we know you've got the Soulgasmic Ascension sort of YouTube. So do you want to break down, I guess, where you can be contacted and everything?
Yeah, Instagram is one of the easiest ways to get in touch with me, because yeah, it's all about that cyber baby. So that is Soulgasmic Ascension. Soulgasmic, full stop, Ascension. Because, you know what I mean? When that soul hits your organism and creates an energetic platism with your vibration of who you truly are, it can create a chariot of literal fire, of Shakti energy, of life force energy that allows your being to transcend to altered dimensions of reality. That is Soulgasmic Ascension, and that is what I embody, I harness, and I amplify and radiate the fields around me.
Yeah, well, we appreciate that, and definitely honor and see the divine greatness and stuff in you and the work that you do, and we'll be continuing and stuff to do. I think I may need to book me some, you know, some session time and stuff at some point. So, you know, definitely, you know, peace to everything you be doing and stuff like that as well. So, when are you gonna be dropping some new content, I guess, on the YouTube for us as well? We're gonna be tuning into that.
Very soon. I would definitely recommend to check out my Instagram TV, because whenever I do a live or anything, I end up just saving the videos. So there is a lot of up-to-date content on my IGTV. So that is at Soulgasmic Ascension. Yeah, follow me, share, because it's all wisdom, it's all love, and it's all about the path of ascension.
Well, you got it right there, folks. So definitely all about love, all about ascension, all about building, and it's been a pleasure, an absolute pleasure to be building with Ankh'KaRa Ashe, aka Soulgasmic Ascension today. Peace to Ankh'KaRa FM for definitely powering us each and every time, and peace to the Back the Online family. Stay up, stay woke, and always look out for you folks.